I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The Bay Area housing market is doing very well right now. But how? With all of the chaos and turbulence and all of the things that are going on right now, how is it that the Bay Area housing market has proven to be so resilient? We're going to get into that in this Silicon Valley Snapshot. We're sitting here, it's the middle of May 2023, and rewind a year ago, almost to the day, is when we started to realize that things were going very poorly for the housing market and things were going to change very drastically. And since that time, we've experienced lots of lows, a couple of highs, and a lot of chaos and uncertainty since that time. However, over the last 60 days, we have seen a resurgence in the Bay Area housing market, so much so that we are starting to see homes go pending at or above what homes were selling for at this same time last year. Danny, how is this possible? Well, we're going to get into all that data in just a second. But before we do that, before we get into the data, if you're a home buyer in today's marketplace and you're trying to figure out, is now the right time for me to enter the market? And if so, what should I offer on the home? What should I expect when going into a multiple offer situation? Well, we're going to get all that data sent straight to your inbox when you text the word data plus the area or the zip code or the neighborhood that you're looking in. And if you're a home seller and you're trying to figure out what should I price my property for, or is it even the right time for me to sell? Well, truth be told, there are many sellers out there right now that shouldn't sell. But if you're in an area that is commanding a higher sales price than we were seeing about a year ago, now might be the right time for you to sell. And so if you text the word data plus your property address, we will get you all of the data that you need to make the best and most educated decision possible when you text the word data plus your property address to the number down below. All right, so let's hop right into the latest trend graphics reports, starting with Santa Clara County, where we are seeing the largest discrepancy between pending activity and active inventory. And the larger the delta that we see between pending sales and active inventory, usually the hotter the market. In April, we saw 941 homes pending in Santa Clara County versus 800 homes on the market. Now, when we look back a year ago, we're seeing 1,000 homes on the market. So we're seeing lower inventory levels right now in Santa Clara County than we were seeing at this same time last year. What that tells me, and what that should tell you as well, is that there is quite a bit of suppressed inventory in the ecosystem right now. If you look back in time, and I covered this a few snapshots ago, but you'll see that right now, 800 homes on the market is almost as low as it's ever been. I mean, even in the pandemic times when we gone through the shutdown and like the whole COVID thing was happening, we were seeing more homes on the market at that time than we are right now. Just to give you some perspective and context, like this is very, very low inventory. And if I had to put my finger on it, that is absolutely the number one reason why we are experiencing the pressure on prices that we are seeing right now, not just in Santa Clara County, but all over the entire Bay Area. Heading on up to San Mateo County, we're seeing a slightly different story with 442 homes on the market and 324 homes pending. Now, that being said, I'm hearing reports and seeing stories of agents who are both on my team and at other brokerages as well, who are writing offers and are seeing multiple offer situations in San Mateo County. So what you're seeing here right now is there are the tale of the haves and the have-nots. So the haves are the ones that are experiencing multiple offer situations within a short period of time, usually within 7 to 14 days of the home being listed on the market. And then there are the have-nots, either the ones that are overpriced, poorly marketed, or maybe they're just not that great of a house. And so those are the ones that are staying on the market longer and really racking up that active inventory. So the delta between active and pendings is not enough yet for it to really even feel like anything less than a seller's market in San Mateo County, especially for the great properties that are marketed appropriately and priced correctly. But the conditions in San Mateo County are clearly not as white hot as it is in Santa Clara County and some of the other counties here in the Bay Area. Heading on south to San Benito County, we're seeing 55 homes on the market and 40 homes pending. And if you're seeing the trend here from July of last year all the way through right now, we're seeing a slow and steady decline in inventory levels. So there's less and less and less homes being put on the market month over month over month, and a relatively stable pending activity level. I mean, we definitely saw pendings fall in the winter months. We normally see that. And now it's bounced back up. So we're starting to see those lines converge. We're starting to see inventory levels and pending activity converge once again. Might be a while before we see activity like it was in the spring of last year, where clearly in March of last year, we had more pending activity than active inventory. So it might take a little bit of time for that to happen, but we'll continue to monitor and see what's happening in San Benito County, because a lot of what happens in San Benito County is a reflection of what is happening in Santa Clara County and some of the other counties as well, but usually Santa Clara County in the previous months. And so we were seeing Santa Clara County the last couple of months, 3 to 6 months ago, return back to that really like competitive environment. And so typically what we see in San Benito County is we'll see that manifest in the data usually 3 to 6 months later. So meaning the current market conditions and what the current market conditions are in Santa Clara County usually forecast what San Benito County is going to look like 3 to 6 months later. Reason being, there's a lot of transient activity headed south from those bigger markets, Santa Clara County, and a lot of downsizers that move out of those areas and into San Benito County, and also people who are getting priced out of those areas. So those are the two main drivers there, is we get transient activity, people downsizing from those bigger counties, bigger price points down into San Benito County. And then also people who are getting priced out of those markets eventually just give up and say, I'm going down to Hollister area and the surrounding areas down there in San Benito County. And heading on up to San Francisco. So a couple things to observe here. Number one is that really since December of this last year, we're seeing pretty stable inventory levels in the city, which is something to note because this isn't something that I've generally seen in San Francisco before, where we've had like 5 straight months of like fairly stable inventory levels. Now, pending sales is where the story is, because we are seeing pending sales increase month over month over month. And now we're seeing a stabilization of pending activity as well. Now, some of my team members are writing offers in San Francisco, and still we are seeing multiple offer situations in the city, which should tell you that it's the same situation as San Mateo County, where the data doesn't give you the full story, because clearly there are plenty of homes that are still getting the attention that drives multiple offer situations, but not all of the houses are going to be like that. So there's the haves and then the have-nots. Now there's a lot more have-nots in San Francisco than there are in San Mateo County. Just statistically speaking, based on the data, there's going to be a lot more homes in San Francisco that sit for a couple of months. But if you have a great home that's properly marketed and that's priced correctly, still in this kind of environment, you're going to see multiple offer situations in San Francisco. Now heading over to Contra Costa County, we had 801 homes pending and 700 homes active on the market. So we're starting to see that delta between pending activity and inventory levels start to kind of taper off. So we're starting to see a stabilization there from March to April. Buyers are feeling it. They're seeing multiple offer situations on pretty much every single home that they're writing an offer on right now. And sellers are experiencing a nice change of pace, where before they were thinking like, man, am I going to be able to even sell my house, or am I going to have to like really go down on my price? And now sellers are not just getting their price, but usually getting more than they were expecting. Even a few months before, when they were looking at the comps and everything, they were thinking, oh, I might get this price. And now their expectations are being far superseded. And that's pretty much true for every single home that's for sale right now in Santa Clara County, Contra Costa County, and Alameda County, where we're seeing 718 homes pending and 678 homes active on the market. So we are still seeing pending activity outpace supply. And anytime that happens, and we're seeing that in Santa Clara County, we're seeing that in Contra Costa County, we're seeing that in Alameda County, every time that happens, and every time that we're seeing that trend for multiple months in a row, means that the momentum of the market is going to continue to favor the sellers. And again, we look at Alameda County, we see 679 homes active on the market right now. You look back a year ago and there were 889 homes active on the market. So that is a massive discrepancy between what we're seeing right now and what the case was back in April of last year. So clearly the inventory levels right now are suppressed, and that is what's driving the market right now, specifically in Alameda, Contra Costa, and Santa Clara County. So the question remains is, what's driving this lack of inventory? Well, there's a couple things. And the most obvious is that prices still aren't back in most cases to where they were at this same time last year. And so when a seller has something of value and they know what it's worth because they know what other people have paid for it in the past, and they are seeing that they're not going to be able to get that right now, as long as they're not in need to sell, meaning that they're not like being forced to do it, or like a life circumstances is creating that necessity, they're going to hold on to it. And so that's what you're seeing right now, is that there's 700 sellers right now in Contra Costa County who pretty much needed to sell for one reason or another in April of last year. But the rest of them are like, the rest of the sellers that might have sold are still thinking, you know what? I think I can get more for this house if I just sit on it, and I don't really need to sell my house right now. And I've seen a lot of people in the comments in recent weeks being doomsday fear-mongering individuals saying like, oh, the sky is going to fall and you should hold on and just beware. The real correction is coming. And honestly, the real correction has already come and gone. Like let's call it what it is, a 25% decrease in some areas between what homes were selling for in March of last year to March of this year. And I covered this in a previous snapshot video. So if you haven't seen that, you should absolutely go take a look at that one. But the correction happened. And so prices corrected. Now we're starting to see the rebound. And of course, I could be totally wrong here, but given the new CPI report that just came out last week and coupled with everything that we're seeing in the market right now, I just feel like the worst has already passed us at this point in terms of the downward cycle of this housing market. So now I think we're going to see a period of stasis where we start to see things level out, as you're seeing in Contra Costa and Alameda. We'll see how long it lasts in Santa Clara County. Right now, if you're a seller and you're thinking about selling your home in Santa Clara County, I would probably recommend that you do it, just based on everything that I'm seeing right now and the multiple offer scenarios that I'm being brought to my attention on a pretty much daily basis now. If you're a seller in Santa Clara County, you should probably put your home on the market if you are thinking about selling at any point in the next 2 years, because I think at some point we're going to see a course correction in some of those cities in Santa Clara County. But Contra Costa, Alameda, we're starting to see a stabilization of sorts. And I think that this is going to continue to be the case until the Fed manipulates the interest rates drastically in one direction or the other. I think that's the next time that we'll see any sort of drastic movement moving forward, because clearly sellers are saying right now, we don't need to sell. And given how much equity they have in their houses, they're probably not going to need to sell for a long time, because even if they lose their job, they can just tap into their house as a piggy bank and use it to float themselves until they have more stability and have another source of income. So everything I'm seeing in the market right now is indicative that we are entering a period of stasis where maybe for the next 30, 60 days into this spring market will level out at some point. And then I think that we're going to return to a bit of normalcy, and then we'll see what happens with rates and everything like that. But right now, if you are a home buyer and you're looking at this, there is still going to be another 30, 60, 90 days of appreciation wave. And so if you're waiting on the sideline right now as a buyer, I just don't see a scenario in which you're going to end up paying less money, either upfront or on a monthly basis, if you wait another 3 to 6 months, versus if you kind of get in now and then allow the appreciation wave to at least cover some of your selling costs, right? So there is some appreciation still to be made in this market. If you're a buyer, you're a home seller. I do believe that at some point in the next 3 to 6 months, we're going to see prices higher than they are right now. Meaning if you wait another 3 to 6 months, you're probably going to make more of a return on your property than if you sell right now. Maybe with the exception of Santa Clara County, where we're seeing just crazy offer situations right now. But the market conditions, especially in Alameda County, Contra Costa, Santa Clara County right now, are very much in the seller's favor. And whenever I coach my clients and we're talking about like, when's the right time to sell, when's not right time to sell, you always want to sell when the momentum is in your favor. Prices might not be at the peak, because unfortunately, like usually when prices peak, momentum's gone. Because we're already on the downward slope. So right now we're on that upward slope. And if you are like, hey, Danny, I got to get out of here like the next year. Well, right now, data showing that the momentum is on your side as a seller in those counties. The other counties, momentum's not necessarily on your side. So if you can stick it out and wait and believe in the long-term prospects for your individual property, then you might be better off waiting. And that's it. I hope you found this information. If you've made it this far in the video and you're not yet subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, give us a thumbs up while you're at it to get notified every single time we upload a new Silicon Valley snapshot. And costs you nothing, helps me get in front of more Bay Area home buyers and sellers just like you. This is Danny Gold, everyone. I'm selling Silicon Valley, and I will catch all of you in the next snapshot.